it's really not a question. It's just when you ring that bell, I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to leave home.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to stay where I am. I don't want to leave
Yeah.
home. It just feels like home and I don't want to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Me neither. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And yeah. And that's the thing I love to hear. Because that means, especially remember the other one or two sessions back, you were saying, I don't know, I'm sitting here, I don't, there's no samadhi happening, no, right, right, and but if that were the case, why would you not want to open your eyes when the bell rings, right? And actually, and I said this that last time that we when we think, oh, there's no settling happening or no samadhi happening, or no, it just means that we have an idea about what those words mean. And of course we do. But the idea is never the thing itself. An idea has a shape. An idea is always smaller than the thing, because the idea is just a thought. And this is the boundless space within which all the thoughts come and go. So the fact that we don't want to leave when the leave home, as you know, as you say, when the bell rings, boy, that's just about the best, simplest, most direct confirmation there is that, oh yeah, the stuff works. There's nothing else we need to do. We just keep soaking in this. And sometimes it happens, I'm sure some of you have experienced this, that you may be sitting there thinking, nothing's happening. It's such a waste of time. I'm just sitting here thinking thoughts, blah, blah, blah. And then the phone rings. You forgot to turn your phone off. And you go, oh, I don't want to answer that phone. Right? Or the cat jumps in your lap, or the baby cries. Oh, I don't want to deal with that. Why would that be? It's because you're sunk, but because the sinking is so natural and so incremental, and because you didn't do it, because it just happens so naturally that it sneaks up on us. And because we think of being sunk as being down there, but it's never down. See, whenever we think down there, that's we're creating duality, right? We're thinking of it in dual terms, right? And it's never down there. It's always right here, wherever we are. That's the sunkenness. That's the beingness, wherever we are. And I can see, Laurie, you can hear what I'm saying now in a way that you might not have heard this a couple of months ago, right? Just based on the continuing coming back, and the experience getting clearer and clearer, the simplicity getting clearer and clearer. Now, the good news is that we don't have to leave home, because this right here also, it's not just in meditation that right here, wherever we are, is it. Always, right? Right? Right now, looking at this screen, hearing my voice, these are experiences of sound, thinking whatever you're thinking about what's being said, those are thoughts. Where are these experiences of hearing, thinking, seeing? Where's it all happening? It's all happening within aware presence. The same place that where we're hanging out in meditation, because there is no other place to hang out. It's just that when we open our eyes, we come out, the shiny objects in the foreground tend to sort of take over our attention, and we lose track of the fact that in the background, the space within which all this is happening, that's that boundless beingness, that's that delicious home, that samadhi that we find so delicious in meditation. And that's why we have to just keep alternating. You meditate, you come out. You meditate, you come out. You meditate, you come out. The more you do that, the clearer it gradually becomes. There is no coming out. It's all happening here. So that's the best news. The great news is we don't want to come out. The even greater news is We don't have to. We can't. There's nowhere to come out to.
I think when there's so many shiny objects, when I open my eyes and
Yeah.
there's so much going on in this room and the sound, and it feels stressful compared to being at home during meditation
Yeah. For now.
for now.
For now. Yeah, have you noticed that maybe it feels a teeny weeny bit less stressful than it used to? Yeah. Okay. So that's all we need to know. That means that the process is happening and it's going in the right direction. So just multiply that by, another month, another 6 months, another year of practice, maybe one more day of practice, and gradually or suddenly it becomes clear, oh, there's nothing stressful. Just imagine the Buddha sitting in the room, sitting in the very seat, in the very spot where you're sitting. A Buddha is sitting there, right? By a Buddha, we mean, any enlightened being, right? Buddha sitting there. Is that Buddha going to say, oh, yeah, if only all these bright colors weren't here in the room, then I'd be able to enjoy my Buddha-ness? No, no. So who's right, you or the Buddha? Right? And then, more and more what happens is you discover, okay, you're the Buddha. You're the awakened one. Right? Another kind of language to talk about this in, and which, we Laurie, we've corresponded about, is, for some people the language, the word God works nicely. Some people don't relate to that word fine. They don't. All these words are optional. Uh, but if you relate to the word God, you can just think of it in terms of, well, what is outside of God? Nothing. Nothing. You know, nothing. What is not within the hand of God? See, now where that becomes problematic is what happens with so many people. They start to take that language too literally, like God is a big person, and we're going to think of God as a big person as long as we think of ourselves as a small person. Right? As long as we think of ourselves as what we are as a person. Where's the word person come from? It comes from the Greek word persona. It means mask. Right? We think, oh, I'm a person. Dean is a person over here. Laurie's a person over there. But the word, every time we use that word person, just remember persona, mask. All these qualities of being Dean, everything everyone sees, okay, they see my face, they see my glasses, they hear my voice. I'm looking through the eye holes of that. That's not me. That's a thing I'm looking through the eye holes of. I'm back here, so to speak. I'm back here just being boundless awareness, looking through the aperture of this person, through the lens of this persona into, so I can experience being in a world of time and space and all these friends and so forth. But that's not what I am, right? But as long as I think of myself as a person, a separate chunk of matter, then when I try to think about God, I'm going to think of God as a great big person. Maybe a great person big enough that he or she or they, whatever, will kind of dwarf my small personhood and bring me some relief from the limitations and the responsibilities of feeling like a small self. Right? And that's kind of the basis of theistic religion. Okay, you start with the idea I'm a person. There's problems that come along with being a person. So maybe there's a big person that can dwarf me and help me and hold me in the palm of his loving hand. And that can work pretty well up to a point for a lot of people. But the more profound approach is, as far as I'm concerned, the approach that is in more in accord with my experience is, oh, I'm not a person. I'm this boundless beingness. I'm what's behind the mask, what's looking through the eye holes of the mask. Now, when the clearer that becomes, the more when I think of God, I don't want to think of a big because to think of because I've experienced that when I think of myself, when I used to think of myself as a person, that was a limitation. Now I'm noticing beyond that limitation. If I think of God as a person, thing that's got a will and preferences and likes these people, doesn't like these people, that's putting a limitation on God, just like I used to put that limitation on myself. That's not very nice. So more and more I can come to appreciate. Again, this is just if you think in terms of God. If that word doesn't work for you, ignore these whole couple of minutes here. All right, but if you're interested, maybe this is helpful. So okay, I don't want God to be limited by being a person, big or small. So more and more it makes sense that God is infiniteness, infinite presence. What am I? Infinite presence. Well, how many infinite presences can there be? Right? How many infinities are there room for? Right? Just one. If there's a place where one of them ends and the next one begins, that ain't infinite. Right? So this is not theology, it's not belief. It's just starting to get clearer about our own experience and getting clearer on the implications of it. So there's only room for one infinite, and there can't be two of them, and that's why we call this non-duality. There's just one infinite, and what I thought of as Dean, and what I thought of as God, and by the way, what I thought of as Lori, and what I thought of as David and Jamie and Al and Jess and everyone else, and what I thought of as the planet Earth and Mars and all that. That's all just the one infinite. He trot out another metaphor, the one ocean of the infinite, arising, displaying, playing, display. Notice display, the root of that is play. Playing as all these different waves. But it never stops being the ocean. And more we can come out and experience, walk around in the world of the waves, which is the world that you're saying you find stressful, the world of all the phenomena. And more we experience, okay, it plays and displays as phenomena, but the whole time it's nothing but this non-phenomenal, boundless presence, aka God, aka Buddha nature, aka Tao, aka ocean of beingness, whichever inadequate term you prefer. And all those terms are inadequate not because they don't say enough, but because they say too much. The moment we put a name on it, it brings some concepts, brings some baggage, right? The real thing is just before we say a name, just before we say the word. Yeah. So none of this is anything to worry about or try to figure out or all that. It just, we keep practicing, it keeps getting clearer, and we just notice, it's and when we verbalize it, it can come out as simple as, I feel more relaxed. That's the simplest, most immediate way to say it. All this stuff about, non-duality and God and, or enlightenment, all that, it really the same thing. I feel more relaxed. I feel more happy. Things seem to I feel like there's less grinding, like grinding, when you grind your gears in a truck or something. There's less grinding between me and the stuff out here, and less grinding within me, less internal grinding of gears. Why would that be? Why would that be? I mean, we can explain it on a, kind of a psychophysiological level. Well, when we meditate, this happens with the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic blob. That's one level of explaining. But to me, the much more interesting, profound level of explaining it is more and more we're seeing there is nothing to grind. There is no one thing to grind against a second thing. If all there is waves, if that's our ultimate being, one wave can be conflicting, grinding with another, causing stress on another. But the clearer it becomes, there's only the one thing, there's only the ocean. How can the ocean grind against itself? So there's only infinite harmony. That's why, at the end of the sessions, we like to chant, or at least I like to chant, Shanti, 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 peace, peace, peace. That's really what that means. That's the real peace is when it's not just, okay, there's no conflict going on between the separate parties at the moment. The real peace, the most profound peace, is there are no separate parties. It's like you can be dreaming. You dream, you ever have one of those dreams and you're in conflict and then there's this problem and how you're in an argument with a person, or there's all that anxiety. Oh, I'm trying, I've got to get all this stuff done, and then you, right, and you wake up, and then where did all that conflict go? It's gone. That's all. The job that you thought you had to do in the dream, the person you thought you were arguing with in the dream, all that evaporates. The separateness of that, the thingness of that evaporates. There's just it's all the same beingness, the same presence. So all this basically comes out of, when I hear the bell, I don't want to open my eyes. Right? Yeah. Good. Is that working for you, Laurie? Excellent. Good, good, good.